Hello all you bladers, and Orb Aegis was one of the most weird and unique bays in Beyblade Burst Turbo with its quest driver and just the way it moved around in real life and its gimmick. So we're going to be evolving it into Beyblade Burst DB with this combination Prominence Valkyrie, Illegal Bearing Mobius 2. Now we're actually going to be using the Prominence Blade without the armor because of how the shape works. You'll notice that it's kind of downward and has these little squares with these little like spaces in between. Obviously Aegis doesn't have these spaces, but it's the best we could do. We're also we're also going to be using the Valkyrie blue core because the Aegis core kind of it perfectly matches with the color scheme, and also it makes sense for Valkyrie because it just adds a new gimmick to Aegis with the kind of like bounds gimmick thing it has. We're also going to be using the blue 2 armor here, as you can see, because of it's blue, and Orb Aegis is a very like blue bay, so that just kind of makes sense with that. We're going to be using the Illegal disc because it matches the outer disc's shape in that it's a bit lighter than normal, and it has these little holes on the inside where it's basically most of the weight is towards the outside. It also has like little representations that are like literally like the outer disc, like this little indent with the square thing here and this little thing here. It's almost like the exact same thing, right? You'll notice they're very similar in terms of shape. And we're going to be using one of my favorite drivers, the Bearing Mobius driver, because it's so much like Quest. It's basically Quest sticks to the stadium and doesn't fall over, right? It's like a sticky cup. Where Bearing Mobius is free spin, so instead of sticking to the stadium, it's tall and it will be able to stay upright on the stadium while still being able to free spin, and that'll give it some extra defensive capabilities. So now Orb Aegis has the overall shape, and it's able to like grip the stadium with a driver. Not only does it have that though, it's able to grip the stadium and like be free spin, such as this, right? It's like sticking to the stadium and it's still free spin, and it will also have a brand new bounds gimmick with Valkyrie, plus higher life after death and stamina than it originally had. So this is going to be a pretty cool evolution. Let's see how it does. It's taking the attacks pretty well. You can't really tell so far, because it kind of just used its bound to get rid of Valkyrie's stamina. But it does get the outspin here, and as you can see, it's kind of doing the quest thing at the end. It's not a perfect replica, but it works. So we've got Excalibur here. It's a lot heavier than Valkyrie, that's one thing. So let's see if it'll be able to maybe even burst Aegis. Because the Valkyrie core isn't very infamous for its burst resistance. Although it does have a lot of recoil defense, it's able to pull off that outspin pretty easily. I feel like that was a little too easy. Yeah, so it's kind of just delaying those attacks, like shoving them off and then waiting in the center until the other attack type runs out of stamina, is what it seems like it's pretty much doing here. Now here we've got it up against Guilty. Yeah, Guilty just KO'd it very, very easily. Nice. The defense there, you can see it's kind of like rolling with it. Kind of like tilting the thing on the side. It will probably be able to outspin Guilty as well here. That'll be interesting to see. So let's wait until it does the typical Bearing Mobius kind of move, and Guilty did actually take that. The prominence blade isn't very wide. It's very thin, so it would make sense if it falls over. But even so, I wouldn't expect it to be beaten that easily. Yeah, so it's doing the questing again. Solid defense. The question now is just, can it get the outspin again? I kind of worry about that now. It might not be able to. Okay, so that time it didn't. And it even stayed upright, right on top of it. That's pretty much how burying Mobius is theoretically supposed to work. It just doesn't always work that way. Now, as a defense type, it should be able to do well against other defense types. It's not very sticky. It's not like it doesn't stick to one place as Egis does. So that's obviously one difference. Egis will just, like... Well, okay, that doesn't really work. That doesn't really work either. We're gonna just kind of get this. Egis sticks on the side there. In fact, what would be pretty cool is if we have Egis just on the side, spinning right there as we do. So as we do this, let's try it against Fafnir maybe? And see how that does. An opposite spin kind of stamina matchup. I'm curious, how is this going to play out? In fact, let's just switch the side to make it more entertaining here. That's just funny to look at. Endless stamina match, that's for sure. And Fafnir actually was the one who took the outspin there, which is pretty surprising. Let's try it against a very, very big Bay compared to a Divine Belial 2. Jeez. That shook the Bay. Let's try that again, second launch attempt. Okay, that's enough of Orb Egis. I think we're just, that was a little too much. Holding up pretty well. Nice amount of stamina left over after that, which is pretty surprising. Now, since it has a bound gimmick, I'm curious how it does against another bound gimmick type of Bay. Gatling Dragon. Another big one. It's another big Bay, like Divine. Relatively heavy. Now, it's pushing it on the side, as you'll start to notice in a second. No, actually. It took Gatling down right there and then, just by pushing it underneath. I feel like we should do Valkyrie. Yeah, the thing is, it kind of just sticks in the center, and it waits for the attack type to go around it, kind of just running out of its stamina is kind of what seems to be the play here. And there we go. That was not really cool. I was trying to do the hand thing with Egis. It worked before. In fact, let's... That doesn't really work either. You kind of want to launch it. There we go. There we go. There we go. That's perfect. That's That's really nice. How you can just do that with a bay. And I think that is where we are going to end it off here. Just a couple bays we battled against. And that'll be it. That is the Orb Aegis evolution, which is Prominence Valkyrie, Illegal, Bearing Mobius 2. It didn't really stick properly like Quest does, but you can't really replicate a driver as unique as this, and I feel like I did pretty well considering the height difference, the shape, the weights, and everything. Plus the bound gimmick definitely helped, and the excess stamina was definitely useful as well. Opposite spin wasn't really as good as I expected, but then again, Prominence doesn't even have the armor, and when you have a bigger disc, when you have a layer, it doesn't really work well. Especially on taller drivers like this, but that will be it. Subscribe if you enjoyed. Let me know any other stuff you want me to try out as far as evolutions or anything else is concerned, competitive combos, anything like that. Subscribe if you enjoyed, and don't forget to keep on blading.